Hello everyone, and welcome back to Art a la Carte. So in this episode I'm going to be talking about when to give up on a piece of artwork, which is something, if you watch my videos, I don't ever encourage. I always am advocating that you keep on working on your piece, don't give up. Because a lot of times, almost in every single drawing I do, comes a point in my drawings where I don't like the piece, it's not what I'm thinking it's going to turn out to be, and I want to give up. But if I just persevere longer and work at it, I can usually pull it out and create a really nice piece. And so I'm always encouraging artists who come to me and show me their work, and who are frustrated or don't know what to do with their picture, just to keep working with it. Don't give up. But there does come points and times in your creating craft that you're gonna just want to give up, and there's gonna be times when it is, it can't be saved. So this is the first piece I want to show you, and if you follow me on Instagram, you already saw a picture of this. When I'm working on a piece and I get to that point where I just really want to scrap a painting, I usually always will put it to the side. I won't scrap it right away. And I'll wait a couple of days, maybe even a week, maybe even 2 weeks. I have one painting that I think has been sitting on a board for over 2 years, and I haven't decided yet if I want to continue it or not. But give it a moment. When you're creating art, you also create a lot of emotion with yourself, and you don't want to make a decision to scrap a picture based on your emotion. Don't be the typical artist that just balls their paper up and throws it across the room, because that's a decision based on your emotion, and yeah, it still might be a really great piece. So I let this piece rest for a little bit, and even though it's a nice piece, I see a lot of possibilities in this. It's not what I envisioned, and I've moved past the point where I can go back and fix it. Now with watercoloring, you want to start with the lightest colors first and then put in your darker colors. The reason I can't go back and fix this is I was really excited to get into the part where I was adding in the dark, because where you add the dark in with the eyes, it really makes the painting come alive. And I didn't really spend enough time on the back coloring and all this. And I can't now go back there and just fix things because I've already added the black paint in there, and it's going to bleed through and it's going to turn into a muddy mess. I probably could, if I took an extreme amount of time and care, go back in and very carefully go over this, but at this point it would be so much work, it would be easier for me to start completely over again and try again. So is this piece a complete and utter failure? Well, I'm not going to finish it, and I probably will end up just throwing it away, but it's not a failure because I've learned something. Well, because there's some things I can learn from this, and that's to really put in the time that I need in the first step before moving on to the next step. Don't rush the art. Give the art time to be what it needs to be. So this is the second piece that, even though it's also a very good piece, I like it, it's definitely not what I had in mind when I created it. I have a specific kind of feel that I want for this piece, and this just didn't have it. And again, what was my problem? Well, it was the same problem that I had in my first painting I brought over into this painting. So I was drawing a picture of Merida from Disney's Brave, and I was really excited to paint her hair. Could not wait to paint her hair. But because I was so excited to paint her hair, I didn't take enough time to really get in some of the details that I wanted before I got the hair in there. Like in the face here. I really wanted to get some more detail into her face, but because I use this red watercolor, if I go back in and try to put in shading and bring out some more details of her face, this will just end up bleeding into her face, which will muddy up the whole picture and make her look very sunburned. Also on her dress, I didn't add a lot of texture and detail before I started putting in the intricate designs, and now if I go back and try to fix that, that will all get muddied up as well. Even though I do like the idea of this sketch, this painting, this piece of artwork, it's not what I wanted, and so I went ahead, and even though I finished it, I will never do anything with this. I won't, hang this up on my wall, and probably it will go in a box as an inspiration piece to create another piece like this. So in essence, it could be deemed a failure, but again, I think finally with this piece, between this piece and the previous piece, I learned the lesson about taking my time and not wanting to just jump in ahead and really get into the fun stuff. You have to lay that good foundation in first. Alright, so this is the third piece, and this is a piece that I deem a success. And what I learned from the first two pieces really helped me to achieve this. I did this painting of this tiger, and obviously I started when there's no black. And of course this was the one that I did not record any of the creation process with. But I painted this whole thing without the black first. The black was the very last thing I painted. And I really couldn't wait to get into the black because it really takes it from being just kind of a yellow lion looking thing to being a tiger. But I really pushed myself, and I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm good. I think I have this where I want it, and I was getting my black out, and I thought, I just want to add a little bit more shadow to this eye over here. And then instead of just going with a regular shading color, I thought I'm going to pull in a purple instead. And so I pulled in some purple shading, and I thought, that looks really cool. I want to add some purple to the ear. So I added some purple to this ear over here, and I thought, well, that looks cool. Let's go ahead and add some purple down below under the chin. And so I began adding in these purple, and then I thought, well, let's not just stick with purple, let's grab in some other colors. So I began pulling in these colors like blue and greens and different other shades, and really began to see that the value on my painting was not as strong as I wanted. Now, the value is the difference between the light and the dark. And I didn't have just really vibrant orange in him. He was kind of a pale orange. And so I began just really throwing in some really vibrant colors. I even threw in just some red and let the red bleed into things. And got this really, really great contrast of color. Almost so much I thought, he's too dark. But when I started adding in the black, it just popped everything together. And it worked out great. If I would have just continued on where I was when I was wanting to add the black, he would have turned out like my little leopard. He would have been just kind of washed out a little bit, not as bold and vibrant as I wanted him to be. So because of that painting that I deemed a failure, I was able to learn from that and really catch myself from making the same mistake twice, and really pushed myself to create this really cool piece, which I really think is really, really pretty. And so now I'm really excited to get this picture framed and hang it on my wall until someone decides to purchase this painting and take it home with them. So yeah, hopefully this encourages you as you are drawing or painting or creating a piece and it seems like you're failing at art. You're not, you're learning. And everything you attempt to do, whether it succeeds or fails, is a process to learn. So take that from your drawings. Don't deem a failure as not successful. Failed art is still a success if you can take something from it and learn from it. That's where having an art teacher or an art instructor comes in really handy, because sometimes you can't see those things right away. If I had someone who is really into painting animals painting along with me, they could have probably told me that before I even failed the picture. You know, hey, you want to add some more shading and color to that, pop that out a little bit before you add your dark. So if you have an art teacher, ask them questions about stuff like that. Let them look at your artwork. And even if they say, you know, this isn't so good here, don't take that as a criticism, as bad. Take it as something that will help to grow you and to strengthen you. But if you're, like me, when I was a kid, there was just no art teachers available. I lived out in the middle of nowhere, and there really was nobody. You have to trial and error and teach yourself, and that really comes from just observing other people's art and not giving up. I love to see your guys' artwork, so make sure to post those on my Facebook page or Instagram. And some of you guys even like to send them to me in the mail, and so if you want to mail them to me, I have my P.O. box in the description box below. So yeah. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Hope you learned something, and get out there and start drawing, painting, creating. And until next time, God bless you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.